No, I mean your
Okay, you ready?
let's see here. Oh, I don't have ears, do I? I can't hear.
You're sitting next to me, like I used to do it old school.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Some hedge mustard. We got 10 people at D Live. Twitch. No one yet.
Okay.
Facebook. Live. Ooh, it's 7.
Okay.
Okay. And put the volume here. And Periscope.
All right, we're just making sure everything is up, everybody. Can you hear me all right?
There you go.
Okay. Now we have sound. We'll start again.
It's not so easy, is it?
There's so much. Can you hear me now? Okay. Thank you to my very handsome moderator for keeping me all set up here.
All right, you get 25.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for joining me today. I am really excited to have you here. I'm really excited to be able to teach some aromatherapy classes again. I have really missed it. I had a shop years ago where I taught classes twice a month on essential oils and metaphysical topics, and so I thought I would bring that here to you in a different venue since I no longer have my shop. I like to call my aromatherapy classes an aromatic adventure because we get to cover all aspects of essential oils and how to use them. And today we're going to talk about chamomile oil. There are 2 varieties of chamomile oil. Just so you know, in my classes, I cover everything from the hard science of it, the research on it, the folk use of it, and the esoteric use of essential oils. So those are the kinds of things we're going to be talking about today, as well as, and we're going to start off by looking at some chamomile flowers and noticing how much they look just like each other if you don't look very closely. There's a Roman chamomile and a German chamomile plant. And Roman chamomile is considered to be the true chamomile, and German chamomile is identified as German because of the place in Europe where it grows. Roman chamomile was titled Roman chamomile because it was identified first outside of the Vatican City, and at the time they were labeling and identifying plants back in history. So it gets considered Roman chamomile because it was growing right there in Rome next to the Vatican. Neat little bit of trivia there for you. When you look at,
I thought German chamomile was just angrier.
German chamomile is angry. German chamomile will spank you. So there you go. Roman chamomile and German chamomile. So, if you want to identify the difference between the Roman and the German chamomile, the Roman chamomile is a little more flat. Yes, the Roman chamomile is a little more flat, and the petals stick out from it. It kind of looks like a daisy. The German chamomile looks like a tutu. It's the second picture on the screen here from the left. And it has a tall little hat with a little tutu. The petals point downwards. When you look at the leaves of the Roman chamomile, the leaves and stems, the Roman chamomile flower only blooms on the end of the stem, and the leaves on the stem are very fine and feathery. The German chamomile has multiple flowers on a stem and less leaves. So if you were looking at them side by side in a field, you might notice the difference immediately. If you were just out and about in the wild looking at flowers, you would have to pay closer attention to which chamomile flower you are looking at. Both of them produce an incredibly sweet honey smell, and they draw a lot of bees and butterflies. It's a really, really wonderful plant to have in your yard. Roman chamomile is, let's see, I'm going to take you here to another screen. Your Roman chamomile will grow in zones 4 through 11. It's about 12 inches high, and it spreads on a rooting system. So it makes an incredibly wonderful, fast-growing, easy-to-manage ground cover. German chamomile is more shrubby. It grows taller and bushier. It's about 2 feet tall, and it doesn't spread out like the Roman chamomile does. It also has a fine, feathery foliage on it. So you have to look at how many flowers are on each stem pretty much to identify which type is which. I'm going to come here. Both plants are cultivated and sold commercially as chamomile. The plant considered true chamomile or Roman chamomile has the scientific name of Chamomile nobile, although originally it was known as Anthemis nobilis. German chamomile is identified as Matricaria recutita. Both herbal and cosmetic products are used. Both herbal and cosmetic products use Roman or German chamomile, depending on the recipe or the maker of the product. But you will, There are other plants that are called chamomile, but they are not true chamomiles, such as Moroccan chamomile, Anthemis mixta, Cape chamomile, Erocephalus punctulatus, and pineapple weed, which is Matricaria diascoidea. Those are not used as chamomile in any kind of recipe. For herbal medicinal teas, or like ground up into capsules for herbal medicine, or cosmetic products. Those are completely different plants. So both plants are also medicinally used as a mild tranquilizer, a sedative, a natural antiseptic, insect repellents. They're antispasmodic, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, and antibacterial. Both plants are listed as safe, and both plants deter garden pests but attract pollinators. The ones that are known as ground apple are the Roman chamomile, the Chamomile nobile. Good question. They smell like little apples. They're really, really sweet. And they sweet and kind of rotten.
Blue chamomile.
Yeah, blue chamomile.
What's that?
Blue chamomile is the Matricaria recutita.
Also German. Okay.
Yes.
We have a question about that.
Okay, thank you. So let's see. I'm one screen too far. Okay. German chamomile is grown commercially in Hungary, Egypt, France, and Eastern Europe, and Roman chamomile is native to Western Europe and North Africa, but it is grown commercially in Argentina, England, France, Belgium, and the United States. You can see the difference in the zones for growing there. We're gonna take a few minutes now just to talk about the Anthemis nobilis, Chamomile nobile. I'm going to put a little bit on a piece of paper here. Like, I wish you were here. I wish you could smell this, but I'm going to smell it for you and talk to you about it. I'll pass it on to Corey and he can tell you too. When you look at this on the paper, let's see if I can get it in there for you. It's pretty clear. And the oil runs through the paper really easily. It's a very fluid oil. It's very sweet, has a little bit of a woody aroma. As it ages, it becomes, they call it golden yellow. I consider it more to be a light brown.
Almost like an apple-y, like a green apple-y.
Fruity, apple-y, and kind of green smelling too. So Roman chamomile is very high in esters. It's almost 80% esters. And esters are a combination of acid and alcohol. Esters, when you look at a list of ingredients on a bottle, you will see that you'll be able to identify esters because they end in ATE, like linylyl acetate. ATE on the end of that. If you see an ATE, you know you have an ester. Esters are generally regarded as safe in high amounts, except for from two plants. Sweet birch, which is Betula lenta, and wintergreen, Gaultheria procumbens. High amounts of esters from those plants are extremely toxic. Esters are typically used topically as antispasmodic remedies, and they are inhaled for calming. This is an extremely soothing essential oil for diffusing when you have an overactive mind, when you have a lot of incoming stress, or when you're trying to unwind in the evening. Esters are antifungal, and they are currently being researched for their anti-tumoral effects. Some of the technical properties of chamomile, Roman chamomile, are that they are antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial, insecticidal. I'm going to let you read the list here as I talk to you a minute for about what it means to be anti. Anti means suppressing the growth of or the reproduction of. So if we say that something is anti-inflammatory, it is suppressing the growth of fluid in this, in the skin or in the tissue. If we're saying it's antispasmodic, it suppresses a spasm. It suppresses nerve activity. If it is antidepressant, it is a mood elevator. As an antioxidant, it suppresses and eradicates oxidants from the system, which are, they cause aging and deterioration of tissue. Antifungal, these are wonderful for nail fungus and all kinds of things. We'll go on to the next page here, and you can see the list of ailments that Roman chamomile is excellent for. We'll look through the list here a little bit, and if you have any questions about what type of application you would use Roman chamomile for, the applications are inhalation, application, topically on your skin. Inhalation and application are the two that we talk about the most. And so on this list, there are things that you would use this for in inhalation therapy, and there are things that you would use this for as an application therapy. Abdominal complaints, arthritis, burns, colic, a cut, cramps, hemorrhoids, a repellent for a sting. Those are things that you would use this topically for, rubbing it into your inflamed joints, or if you have inflamed skin like for eczema or psoriasis. This would be a great thing to apply topically. Inhalation therapy, items on this list for inhalation therapy would be for COPD, for cough. Thank you. Terpenes are not the same as esters. Good question. We'll cover terpenes in a different oil. I like to cover the chemistry with the oils so that they don't get confused and you remember your chemistry with the oils. But terpenes are not the same as esters. So for inhalation, we'll go back here. Inhalation, you have asthma, cough, COPD, and inhalation, you would also use these for overactive mind, for calming and comforting, and for elevating your mood. Although I do like to use chamomile oil at nighttime to rub into Corey's head when his mind is overactive and he needs to calm and relax. That's really helpful to him. The topical application is soothing along with the inhalation because I rub it up under his nose and in his beard, and it's really soothing and comforting. Are there any questions about these ailments, or any ailments that you might have that you're wondering if chamomile would be a good fit for? Mick, we'll talk about spiritual wounds in a little bit. Okay.
If you open up your Telegram, put it in the corner over there, I can ask you questions through there.
Oh, yep, I will do that. Okay. Perfect. All right. So that's Roman chamomile in a therapeutic sense. Let's talk for a few minutes about German chamomile. Little tutu chamomile. German chamomile is a lot thicker in viscosity than, hold on, I need to warm it up a little bit. When your oils are thick, just roll them up in your hands and kind of give them a little warmth and a little shake, and we should get a flow of oil here. Come on out, it's nice and thick. Here we go. German chamomile, as you can see, is nice and thick. It's not as viscous, and it has a lovely greenish teal color. This is kind of like the difference between Roman chamomile and German chamomile to me, in a way, is kind of like how Scotch is, kind of peaty and mossy and smoky, a little bit bitter, but still sweet and very herby.
Way herbier.
Mm-hmm.
It's more almost like a thyme almost. It's got thyme essence. To me, it's my
Timey without the camphor.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice though. It's herby.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. So, the thing that makes this beautiful blue color, we'll talk about the chemistry in our next slide here. So you asked me about terpenes a minute ago. These are sesquiterpenes. And this is about 74, almost 75% sesquiterpenes. It is less volatile and more diverse than terpenes by themselves. The odor is strong, burnt, sweet, and slightly rotten. It is very anti-inflammatory and highly bactericidal. This oil will oxidize over time, and because sesquiterpenes oxidize over time, in some oils, you know, that tells you when your oil is finished and it's time to get some new oil. But in other oils, like patchouli, the oxidizing of the oil is preferred because it deepens and enhances the aroma. Some people don't like their chamomile oil so oxidized. I have a point at which I really like it and a point for me where it's too much. But that's personal preference. The anti-inflammatory sesquiterpene in German chamomile is chamagiline, and the agiline part is what makes it turn blue. Chamagiline only has 14 carbon atoms, and it is a strong antioxidant and has anti-tumor properties to it. So this German chamomile is an antioxidant. It's anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. It's a repellent. It can be in higher doses. It can become cytotoxic if the oil has oxidized too much. However, when it's fresh, it is a free radical scavenger. It's a larvicidal, insecticidal. It does wonders in helping your liver have proper function. It's an anti-diabetic and promotes insulin secretion. It's a fabulous wound healer. If you have had surgery or you have had a deep wound, this is a really fantastic essential oil for healing that. Do not pour your essential oils into an open wound. Get it stitched and then apply the oil to the surface of the wound. But don't ever pour your essential oils directly into a wound unless we're talking about burns, and that is a program all by itself. It is a central nervous system depressant, so it brings an extreme calm and rather quickly. It is great for bronchodilation, for asthma, acute asthma attacks, and it is an anxiolytic, so it helps with bringing your anxiety down quickly. And it is a smooth muscle relaxant, so if you are having abdominal distress, digestive distress, this is a really terrific essential oil for you. Here are some of the ailments that German chamomile has been used for over time. I really love this oil for anything having to do with the face, for acne, for wrinkles, for age spots, for extremely dry skin. German chamomile is the oil for the face. If you are having allergic rhinitis, springtime hay fever, and allergies, this is a really fantastic oil to help calm that down. You can diffuse it. You can also apply it right up inside your nose. It's wonderful for arthritic pain, for lymphedema and swelling. It's great for migraines, anxiety. It's really great for when you wake up in a foul mood. It is really good for foul mood. Yeah, we need to be rubbing Bowden in it.
You're the teenage boys.
Yes, rub it all over your teenage boys. All kinds of female conditions, from hormone imbalance to female organ conditions. This is the essential oil you want to use. If you have had oral surgery, this makes a nice rinse in your mouth for healing up the gums and the mucosal membranes in your mouth. And it opens up nasal congestion as well. So some of the great uses for German chamomile oil. Okay. Okay, essential oils differ in use from herbs soaked in oil for 4 weeks. How do they differ? Essential oils are distilled from massive bulks of plant material. They are typically steam distilled. In modern times, there are certain plants they use CO2 extraction. And in olden times and in modern times, some essential oils are pressed, like next week's lesson in citrus oils. All but two of those are pressed. The rest of the others are CO2 extracted. So essential oils are different because, one, they come from a distillation process. What happens is you put 1,500 pounds of rose petals into a huge copper pot with a lid and a coil on the top. There's a fire underneath it, and as the petals in the water get hot, it creates steam, and the steam rises up in the coil and pours out into another great big copper vat. As it cools, this rose water is saturated, and any oil that does not stay in the solution of the water rises to the top, and that is scooped off the top, and that's where your essential oil comes from. What you're asking me for is about the herb soaked oils. That is an infusion, and so it's a different extraction method, and it is a different infusions can be a little more mild than a steam distillation. Steam distillation, CO2 extraction, pressing, these are highly concentrated oils that are coming out of the plants. The oil that you're using to draw your herbs, the oils and chemistry out of your herbs in an infusion, it depends on how the saturation of the fat in the oil that you're using. That is part of what helps draw the chemistry out of the plant. So if you do an infusion with coconut oil, you're going to have a different rate of extraction than if you use olive oil or sunflower oil, because the fat content is different. So then your potency is different. Does that answer your question? Okay. So how do you apply an essential oil for neuralgia? Along the nerve pathway? Yes. You want to make sure you use a carrier oil, and you want to rub it along in the immediate area where you have the neuralgia, and then all along the dermatome, the nerve path and the dermatome associated. So if you have a patch of neuralgia in the top of your foot on the left-hand side, on your left foot, you're going to rub it in there, and then you're going to come up your ankle and up the side of your leg and around your buttocks and into your sacrum area, along that whole dermatome. And that should really assist with the neuralgia. And you can add it and wait and then add it again. Most essential oils that we will talk about, you won't have any kind of immediate toxicity to. Some essential oils are only for acute use, and some essential oils you can use over time, taking a break and then coming back to them. Is that helpful? Clay, a good carrier oil for coconut, for German chamomile and Roman chamomile both. First is sunflower oil, and then, because it is a similar flower, plants and oils like to work synergistically. So sunflower oil first, and then I recommend jojoba, and then from there I would say coconut. Okay. Okay. So, how do we use our essential oils? Essential oils can be used neat. Chamomile oils can be used neat in most cases, and we'll get to those in a second, the exceptions. In most cases, chamomile oils can be used neat, meaning without a carrier oil. But if you want to blend your essential oils, use sunflower oil first, jojoba next, and then coconut would be my last choice. But I like coconut because it's solid at room temperature. So if you're doing a little bit of massage, or you don't want to, carry a teaspoon around the house of oil, you can just stir it into your coconut. There are some convenience factors to coconut oil. You can apply it directly to the affected area on your body. That includes being up your nose, in your ears, in your navel or other personal places, and between your toes. You can add it to alcohol or warm salty water for oral rinses and gargles, and you can add it to a saline rinse for rhinitis, swelling of the sinuses when you have allergy kind of or coldish symptoms. You can add it to warmed oil for an earache, for menstrual cramps, body aches, rheumatism, and myalgias. You can apply it to a handkerchief and inhale it. You can wear a little piece of jewelry that has a little stone diffuser on it. You can put it in your steam diffuser or a nebulizer as well, for getting it up into the air. You can also do a steam inhalation therapy as well for doing an inhalation treatment. So are there any questions before we go on? Are there any other questions before?
One more.
Okay, does the hue of blue attest to the quality of oil? Well, I'll say yes if you're buying from a reputable vendor, but azulene is extracted for its blue color and to be used in other products, like if you go and have your bikini waxed, they use an azulene oil on the area that they've just torn all the hair out of, so you don't have those horrible waxing bumps. So you could get a weakened chamomile oil that's been added a little blue to, and it can actually make it harder to identify if you're getting a really good oil or not. The way to know the difference is to get a good oil and to memorize the scent of it and to memorize the color of it. And then when you have when you go around and you see another vendor selling it, you have a sample and a memory of that sample to identify your oil by. Really and truly, the best way to know your oils is to get familiar with them from a quality grower, a quality importer, a quality vendor, and know and get to know them. And you'll know immediately as you get to know your oils, really good oils, you'll know immediately if you don't have a good one. All right. Are there any other questions about how to use or apply or inhale your essential oils?
Can you smoke them, man?
No. Don't smoke your oils. Don't do that. Smoking your oils is bad. Oh, you know what? Adding fire to your oils is a good question. There are little diffusers that you stick a little tea light candle underneath and you put some water on top and you put your oils in there. That makes your oils too hot and it changes the chemistry of your oils and it puts an altered chemical up into the air for you to breathe an altered chemical. Try not to use heat more than a steam diffuser on your essential oils. Anything other than that is too hot and changes the chemistry. All right. So I did a little bit of research because I like to use my essential oils in my witchy craft, and I thought I could add some new knowledge for myself and to anybody else out there. A cold diffuser is better. But I thought I could expand the breadth of how you view your chamomile oil. And so chamomile is associated with Woden, the god of war. And this god associates with the Roman god Mercury and Wednesday. Wednesday is the day of the week associated with Woden. This god was worshipped from prehistoric times to about 500 AD. Chamomile is also associated with Cernunnos, the god of fertility. Cernunnos is depicted wearing antlers of the horn or a stag or a bull or a ram. This is not to represent the animal, but a deity that is involved with the animals and can transform into an animal. So they're a shapeshifter. The antlers are the symbol of fertility, speed, and magic. Some depictions show Cernunnos with legs replaced with snakes, or in the presence of snakes and possessing a purse of money. Cernunnos was present in worship from prehistoric times to about 1000 AD. And Balder, the dying god, was Othin's favorite second son. His mother made him invulnerable to death by extracting a promise from all things not to harm him, but she left out mistletoe in her incantation, which made a weakness in the spell, and Loki called on Hoder, the blind god, to turn a sprig of mistletoe into a poisonous dart, which killed Balder. Chamomile is associated with Balder's vulnerability, and Balder was worshipped from 700 AD into Christianity around 1100 AD. So when I use essential oils in spell work or intention work, it helps to know a couple of things about your essential oil. First of all, what part of the plant it comes from. Chamomile, whether it's Roman or German, comes from the flowers and sometimes the leaves and flowers. It depends on who is doing the extracting and the distilling. So you can see here, if you are working the energy of as above, so below. You would see that you would want to incorporate, because chamomile is an above and an air quality essential oil, that you would want to make sure that you incorporated your so below elements as well. And that could be a resin like frankincense, it could be a root like valerian, if you were working all in oils or herbs for your intentions. And I like this little graphic of the star, the pentagram, with the different elements. You have earth, fire, air, water, and spirit. And you can place, they show, you know, your essential oil here is spirit, but sometimes I will put my essential oil where sky goes, or where rain goes, or where earth goes, or fire goes, depending on the essential oil. But you can, you know, you can move that essential oil around in any of those spots as you're doing your craft work. It really makes using essential oils, to me, is in my craft work, it's actually a really important part of it, because I understand that my essential oil has thousands and thousands and thousands of years of genetic coding, information, history, life in it. And a single drop of essential oil is an extremely potent chemical. And it is an extremely potent messenger. So I really love using essential oils. When I get to know a new essential oil, I will smell it, I'll wear it, I'll put it in the bathtub, I'll make it into salts, I'll try it in all the different things. But the thing that I spend the time focusing on with the essential oil first is, when I smell it, where in my palate do I experience it? Where in my face? Where in my mouth? Do I taste it when I smell it? Do I feel it in my soft palate? Do I feel it in the back of my sinuses, in the front of my sinuses? And where in my body does it activate energy? And after I have become familiar with it this way, then I start experimenting with the oils in different ways to enhance those feelings, enhance that energetic experience with it. You have all of this therapeutic information about how it heals your skin, how it can heal a wound, but there's also plant energy and healing energy and spiritual energy in plants, and it speaks to your body, and it speaks to the energy in your body, and it will tell you, as you get to know it, where it wants to be and how you should use it. Okay. Yes, scent is the closest sense to memory. In fact, sense triggers memory storing in the limbic system of your brain, and recalling a memory in the limbic system of your brain. So sometimes you can smell something and it will take you way back, and sometimes it'll take you so far back that you're not even sure where you've experienced that scent, but it moves you in a way that is indescribable because of the memory of it. Ancestral memory and genetic memory, absolutely. So chamomile oils can be used if you like to do spell work or if you like to do intention work. They relate, the chamomile oils relate the most to attraction and beauty, blessing and consecrating, clarity and communication, control, personal control, desire, divination, dream work, fertility, grounding and centering, healing, and clearing hexes. My personal favorites for using chamomile oil are for divination and dream work, and for clarity. Chamomile chamomile oil corresponds to both Leo and Cancer. And German chamomile, the blue one, corresponds to and works really great with throat and crown chakra energy. And Roman chamomile corresponds very strongly to the solar plexus. A couple of fun little recipes here for you. You have spicy love drawing oil, which is 1/4 part rose geranium, 1/4 part lavender, 1/8 part chamomile, and 1/8 part cinnamon. Mix those up in total with a balance. So if you use, you want to at least have an ounce of oil, at least an ounce of oil for each of these blends. Sunflower oil, jojoba oil, or if you want coconut oil that's liquid, you can use fractionated coconut oil. Meditation oil would be 1/4 part frankincense, 1/4 part Cedrus atlantica, which is a cedar wood. It's sweet and it's Corey's favorite. It's really heavenly all by itself. Tangerine and chamomile, and an oil for peace would be 1/3 part lavender, ylang ylang, and chamomile. Mix them up and keep your blends in dark bottles. I know they're beautiful to look at, but the sunlight and artificial light can degrade the quality of your oils. Put your oils in dark bottles, put a nice little label on it, and keep it in a place where the temperature is consistent and they'll last you forever. Whoops, got a little far here. Chamomile oil blends really well with a handful of oils, and you can see those listed here. If you're if you're looking for just a really delicious aromatic inhalation experience, these would be my top favorites for blending in chamomile with. Bergamot, clary sage, frankincense, geranium. I absolutely love grapefruit oil, pink in particular. It's a little bit sweeter. White grapefruit oil kind of has a pepper smell to it. I prefer the pink one. It's sweeter, more floral. Chamomile oil is delicious with patchouli and neroli. Neroli is an orange blossom. So I'm going to move out of the essential oil for a minute and just cover what your fresh and dried chamomile flowers are good for. To use dry flowers for tea or healing your skin, you want to make a decoction, which is a very long, steeped, sort of thicker, darker infusion. Put some water in a pot, put your flowers in, and on a very low heat, warm it up and let it sit till it becomes dark, and then let it cool. This is really effective for topical applications to the skin where you have dry rash, heat rash, eczema, psoriasis, and wounds that you're trying to heal. If you have a doggo with summer hot spots or a dog that's allergic to fleas, they really like this put in their skin. A dry herb, making a soak with it, put some chamomile flowers into a sock or into a stocking or some cheesecloth and throw it in the bathtub and soak in it. It's really good for aching muscles and inflammation, edema in your feet and legs. It's a great way to get down in if you've got overall dryness on your body to do some skin healing. If you have a burn or a scrape that's full of asphalt, you can also wash the area with this. You can just make a tea for relaxing, calming, and insomnia. A tea is also really great for helping to heal up a baby's diaper rash. Yeah, and you can also add it to your baby's bath too, if your baby is all dry in the little creases. Sometimes when your babies have dry skin, putting lotion on them doesn't really help because a lot of commercial lotions have alcohol in it and it stings. But chamomile flowers is a great way to soothe their dry skin.
German chamomile good for rosacea?
Yes, extremely.
Talk about that for a second.
Okay. Yeah, German chamomile is really good for rosacea. That's a great question. You can apply it if you don't have ragweed allergies. You can apply German chamomile directly to your face. Apply it on there twice a day, and it should calm it down. It should take some of the red out, and it should heal it up. It is very much so the essential oil next to carrot oil for putting on your face for those kinds of things. Is that help? Is that helpful?
That was good.
Okay. Yeah, that's really and it smells good. Okay, so you can soak the dry flowers in alcohol, 100 proof or vodka for oral rinses and the disinfection of wounds. And we already covered how to care for your little pet. You can even put some chamomile tea in your dog's water to help improve their dental health. Take care of your chamomile oils. They're volatile, and they do need to be kept in a cooler environment. Don't refrigerate your German chamomile oil, or you may not get it back out of the bottle. It will thicken up. As it is, German chamomile oil does thicken up quite a bit, and you saw me earlier warming it up to get it to flow out of the bottle. You can blend your carrier oils in small batches. A tablespoon at a time should be adequate for a lot of things, like taking care of your skin code red. Do a tablespoon at a time and keep it in a little tiny container, and then just stick your finger in there or a Q-tip and apply it. 1 to 2 drops of essential oils is the therapeutic dose for a tablespoon of essential oil. And if you have an ounce of essential oil or carrier oil, you can add up to 12 drops of your essential oil. So 1 to 2 drops for a tablespoon, or 12 drops to an ounce. If you have latex allergies, be careful when using chamomile flowers. Check first. Make a small batch and do a little spot test before you apply it everywhere, in case you're going to be sensitive to it. Note also that people who have high sensitivity to ragweed can be sensitive to chamomile oil, and it can cause some skin rashing and itching. We don't need to worry about you taking essential oils. Taking essential oils orally is a topic. Thank you. Taking essential oils orally, I don't recommend because, because of the distillation process and the risk for ingesting lead. So, if you would have to eat pounds worth of chamomile flowers for it to make you sick. I don't know that would be an issue, but note that I have to list the contraindications to keep you safe. If your doctor has suggested that you use chamomile, or your pharmacist is aware, if your doctor has suggested that you use chamomile, or your pharmacist is already aware of the medications that you're taking, just check with them both. Make sure if you're taking pharmaceutical medications, some essential oils can counteract the effects of your medication. And if you're stable and feeling good on your medication, you don't want this to interfere. If you are taking, some essential oils are blood thinners. So if you are taking a blood thinner, you want to avoid those essential oils. So check out the chemistry and the effects that the essential oils can have on you, and make sure that they're not going to become a contraindication to your medication. At the bottom of this page here, the rxlist.com, consumer _ stick in your essential oil there. It could be chamomile, it could be rose, it could be geranium. Just stick it in there, and it'll check the essential oil against the medications that you're taking, and let you know if there's going to be any problems. I really like that site for that very purpose. Okay. Do you have to be in ketosis to get the full effect of eating it? No, you don't have to be in ketosis to get the full effect of eating it. There are very few essential oils that I ever recommend somebody ingest, and I only recommend those under very specific and certain circumstances and under very strict dosing. A few years ago, there are a couple of essential oil companies who really promote the ingestion of essential oils. And a few years ago, in California, they had a spike of poisonings due to ingestion of essential oils, because if one drop is good, surely 5 must be better. And there were almost 2,800 cases of poisoning due to essential oils in California a few years ago. And it got these companies in a lot of trouble with the Food and Drug Administration, and pretty much put a grinding halt to a lot of freedom that we have with essential oils and talking about it. So as far as eating your essential oils, I don't necessarily recommend it. If you want to ingest some essential oils, check with somebody who's trained, like myself, or somebody else who really knows how to advise you so that you don't hurt yourself. Over ingesting of essential oils can give you liver damage and kidney damage and brain damage, and if you take them for too long, you can have brain toxicity. You can have damage to your lungs and your intestinal and stomach linings. It's really, really actually very severe. And so oral use or ingestion use of essential oils is something that I don't recommend on a broad basis. All right, so there's a question here. I have purchased oils from stores for my diffuser, but did hear that's not all are the real deal. I'm not sure what you mean. Are you asking about the oils or the diffuser?
Purchased oils from store for my diffuser, but did hear that not all are the real deal. Okay, so she's saying that not all oils are the real deal in terms of some are essential and some are blended and not.
Okay, so you have oils that go across quite a spectrum. You have essential oils, which are distilled, pressed, or CO2 extracted. There's a few other different ways, but
ones you can buy in stores. Well, what kind of stores?
Okay, all right. Probably like Mother's and Sprouts, and is that what we're talking about? Like package deals? Okay. Okay, so you can buy quality essential oils in the stores. There are a couple of really great brands that I recommend. You know, like if you go into Sprouts, you can buy Oracacia essential oils and know you're getting a quality product. I wouldn't eat them, but you are getting a quality pure essential oil. If you are buying rose essential oil, somebody has an ad for rose essential oil, and you are paying $6 for a 4-ounce bottle of rose essential oil. It is a perfume oil. It is entirely synthetic. It has no therapeutic value. It will very likely cause allergic rhinitis. It is the kind of oil that people say, oh, I can't have those kind of smells because they make me sneeze, they make my eyes run. Essential oils won't do that to you. Essential oils come straight from the plant. They're not petroleum products. Perfume oils are petroleum products. The type of perfume oils I'm talking about are the $6 rose essential oil. There are perfume oils where somebody has taken a flower and they've run the oil of that flower through a gas chromatograph, and they're seeing the percentages of terpenes and sesquiterpenes and aldehydes and alcohols and esters and all those different things, and then they've picked them from other plants in the correct percentages and combined them together to recreate the aroma, the scent of that plant. Now you have a fully pure plant oil. It is still considered a perfume oil because it doesn't have the therapeutic properties as having come from that plant. I hope that makes sense. So you have synthetic plant oils from petroleums. You have essential oils, and you have perfume oils that are... Perfume oils can be the synthetic ones, and they can be the manufactured plant oils. So, yes, there are good oils that you can buy and good blends that you can buy that are pure essential oils for healing out in the stores. But again, and you'll know them by their prices. Rose essential oil for a dram, which is barely 2 milliliters, about 40 drops worth, is about $90. Jasmine oil is about $36 for a 2-dram bottle of pure essential oil. Not all of them are like that. There are 36 varieties of lavender. So really good lavender for an ounce is going to cost you $40.
Question on lavender. So I shouldn't put lavender in my lemonade?
You can put a drop of lavender in your lemonade if you trust the company that you purchase it from. A drop. I would use lavender flowers instead. They're very scented, and they add a little color to your lemonade, as well as giving the taste without the risk of putting an oil in your body that's not as good for you as it should be. So let's see. Does that make that more clear?
Yeah, it's covered.
Okay. So she was asking about the oil and not the diffuser, right?
No, Code Red asked about the lavender and the lemonade.
Okay. There are, food grade oils are, there is a difference between food grade or therapeutic, but a therapeutic grade oil is kind of a tricky thing, because if I tell you about a therapeutic blend of essential oils is going to be a carrier oil and a dose of essential oil in that carrier oil that is safe and therapeutic, which is between 2 and about 10%.
For AW219, she says, I recently started buying oils for my diffuser, and a friend warned me to be careful and get the real ones.
Yes.
Also, get the correct ones.
Yes.
Not only real, the incorrect ones can also be real. Explain that.
Okay. So, that's a really good question. You want to be sure synthetic oils, because they're made of petroleum, if you're using a diffuser that has plastic parts, those synthetic oils will melt the parts of your diffuser, and you will have spent a lot of money on your diffuser and it'll break. And that is very disappointing. You want to know, you might love the scent of lemongrass, but if you don't know that lemongrass is highly stimulating and you put on lemongrass at night, you're going to be awake till the sun comes up. So you want to know the properties of your essential oils.
Oh, that's what I use in my diffuser behind me.
Yes, Corey uses a lemongrass in the diffuser at showtime to keep us up and lively. It's definitely mentally stimulating. It gets you focused and clear and driven, and that is the wrong oil for bedtime. You know, you might want to try a chamomile or a lavender in your diffuser. So make a list of the things you want to feel affected. I want my mood affected. I want my energy level affected. I want my nerves affected. I want my stress level affected. Make a list of those things. And then if you want some suggestions on what oils are good for those things you want to affect, shoot me an email and I'll give you a couple of essential oils that'll match what you're trying to affect with your diffuser, okay? Yeah, cilantro oil will do the same thing to you. Okay, there's a couple of brands that I prefer for beginners interested in oils. Yes, I have a couple. But one of my favorites to recommend to beginners is Eden Botanicals. And I really like Eden Botanicals for a couple of reasons. First of all, they are extremely conscientious in their pricing. They have very high quality, clean, pure essential oils. And they're conscientious about their pricing, and they have this wonderful thing called a fact sheet. So if you want to know more about your basil oil that you've just ordered, you can get the fact sheet. You print it right off from their webpage. It'll tell you how to use it. It'll tell you when to be careful with it. It'll tell you what the contraindications are for it. It'll tell you everything you need to know about that essential oil. And you know, you can build your apothecary that way. You can order an oil and get the sheet and have an experience with it that way. And they really try their best to have a respectable price. Some of their prices are high, but they're on the oils that should be high. Their eucalyptus oil is very fair. All of their oils are very fairly priced. But just know that some essential oils, because of how much plant material it takes to get oil out of it, or whether it's an endangered plant or where it is in the world, some essential oils are just very expensive. Some flowers produce almost no oil, like jasmine has to be CO2 extracted. And because the flower only produces a couple of drops. So with the flower only producing a couple of drops of essential oil, and the process of CO2 extraction and the amount of flowers required to get any kind of volume, that's what makes a pricey oil. Okay, plant therapy. Yes, if you are shopping with plant therapy, you've made a good choice. Okay, the name of the company that I'm talking about, Teresa, is Eden's Botanical. And somebody else brought up plant therapy. That's also a really great brand. I love jasmine mixed with rose. At least the cheap stuff I have. Jasmine and rose are really wonderful. They're very sweet and, feminine and glorious. Try stretching your blend there a little bit now and add something rooty and smoky and dark to it. You might be really happy with it. Yeah, they have really fair prices. They aim to give the consumer the wholesale price wherever they can. Okay, I think I've covered everything I have about chamomile essential oil. I will tell you, I'm just going to plug it here for a minute. I have an essential oil of the month club. I have worked with growers and importers and such for about 20 years, and I have my favorite few that I order all of my oils from, and I have access to over 100 essential oils. And I want to have an opportunity to introduce you to every single one of those so you can have them in your apothecary. Use them for your spell work, use them for your healing, use them for your mental and physical well-being in any way you can. No, you don't have to worry about photosensitivity with chamomile oils. So with the Oil of the Month Club, it's a very low fee for a blended oil. You get it at 5%, which means that you can carry it around with you, use it straight from the bottle without having to worry about a carrier oil, and try it out. And then if you want to order, if you want to order a full strength 100% bottle from me or somebody else, then you've at least had an experience with it, and it's an inexpensive way to experience and grow your apothecary. So that's another way to do that. And June's essential oil is going to be lemongrass. So there'll be that. Yeah. I can't think of anything else. If you guys have any other questions, now would be the time.
Are you doing oil of the month?
Yeah, Okay, cool. Should I put the link in there?
Yeah. Drop the link.
Okay. Let me grab that for you.
Or I can find it.
Yeah, just go to the website. And in the search bar it says Oil of the Month, and just
Okay, I got it.
Corey's gonna give you the link to the Oil of the Month Club if you want to sign up. Give you a chance to build your apothecary without spending too much money all at once. Thank you guys for being here with me. I have really missed teaching, and this was a lot of fun today.
All right, it's in there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to my very handsome moderator.
I'm trying.
You're doing great, baby. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll have another class on essential oils in about 2 weeks, and the topic is going to be citrus oils. So we're going to look at 11 different essential oils that fall under the category of citrus. And I really look forward to seeing you guys there. Thank you.